And I was reminded subtly that there would be no fathers in the world without mothers. So
Nah, man, this ain't no
shout-
Mother's
Nah,
Day.
hey,
Bro.
no,
Nah. Last week you could have said that.
I don't
That
agree
was
with
in
Ryan,
May.
baby. I don't agree with Ryan.
I know you don't. You the one up there sliding messages over here. Nah, bruh. This my
the
month.
statements of these
Hey,
hooligans do not
it's
represent
June.
the state.
It's June, right?
This my month.
Hey, man, what is
All
time?
right, you had last month.
Welcome to the All Blends Perfectly podcast. Keith, Ryan, Harrison, Coalition Properties, and friends talking about the intersection between lifestyle, real estate, culture, art, and everything in between because it all blends perfectly.
Good day, good people, and welcome back to another episode of It All Blends Perfectly. I smack my hands for emphasis to make sure you know when you hear what I'm saying. My name is Harrison Beecher. This is Ryan Butler. This is Keith James, and we got a special guest today. Another beautiful, light-skinned, bald-headed gentleman hailing to us from Las Vegas, Nevada. Would you please introduce yourself, Mr. Boone?
Hello, world. Chris Boone here.
Why your voice get so deep when you did that?
You got dude.
Gotta put some bass in your voice, when you get
tenor.
on the microphone.
There you go.
No, man. Honored to be here. I love what you guys do. I think you guys have something really special. Everything about the production, the vibe you guys give, the knowledge that you bring to the table, the way you play off each other, just conversationally, intellectually, it's a beautiful thing. So I'm honored to be a part of here. Honored to be the first guest on the show. I'm by no means an expert at all in any subject or any field, but I'm happy to be here and just chop it up with you guys.
Well, we believe in the power of third-party affirmation and other people giving you flowers. So the flowers I'll give to this gentleman before we introduce the topic and give you some current things that are going on in the world is we've known this guy since the fall or spring of 2005, right? So I guess coming on, spring 2005, like of our
18
freshman year
years
at
ago.
Georgetown. Yep, that's right. And as Ryan and I have been able to travel the world, do some really dope trips with our friend group, Chris has been there with us through all of it. And our connection to Howard Law School, like just a lot of the overlapping circles that we're a part of that make our coalition community what it is, Chris is in and a part of. So that's why he's here talking with us today. And he knows a lot of stuff about a lot of things. Like we can geek out and nerd out mutually about stuff and have good conversations. So,
LSBs, geeking out, nerding out. Y'all can do it. In fact, really, if you want to be honest, I know Harrison doesn't know, but this is just an audition to replace Harrison with another light. This is an audition to replace Harrison. His beard is not as strong, but the baldness on top of the head is just as amazing. It's great.
So you're
I'm
going
happy
you're
to
gonna
see
go
you
from
here.
pink to yellow. That's about to happen right now?
Yeah.
That's about to happen?
Chris is
Wow.
my boy. Chris is my boy, man.
And I must say, I've known you the least amount of times, but man, I really enjoy your Facebook posts, man, your statuses and all that good stuff. So that's where I come into play, and I'm always trying to comment. You always comment on my stuff. He actually was one of the ones that commented on my post about the Hokas versus the Nikes, and so that was important. And also the music, his music.
Did you?
taste.
You influenced the Hulk over the Nikes there? That was your
To be honest with
influence.
you, I don't even remember my comment. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sure that's how I just kind of escape. Whatever
Yeah.
I'm concentrating on, I hop on real quick. At this point, it's reflexive. I get downtime. My thumb just finds its way to that app, and I see what's going on. I try to, interject something thought-provoking, if possible.
Giving Chris the title of purveyor of internet gold. Like for whatever the stuff he finds and shares, it's real. So that's Chris. Let's talk about the current topic before we dive into our discussion point today. The city of Washington, D.C. is trying to figure out a lot of things. This is budget season, and whenever budget season comes up, there are specific political initiatives, things that people work on, and then there are the politicians that do the math and do some subtraction and addition. So in the last week, there was a big effort for the city council to try to remove almost $6 million from the budget that was specifically earmarked towards the homeownership programs that we know and love and use and are so necessary. Gentlemen, how does that conversation around taking funding away impact this bigger problem we're having in the city of it really changing colors and people not being able to afford to stay?
Yeah, it's real interesting. So October 2022, DC announced that for a certain program, the Home Purchase Assistance Program, the funding and the income limits would go up. So it went from $94,000 to $110,000 for a single household member. One thing that was interesting about announcing that the amount of the income limit going up was what should have been announced, what the funding should have went up. We should have had more funding for that specific program go up. So fast forward 6 to 8 months later, you want to take away $6 million of that funding. That's a problem. And that program specifically allows black home ownership and black homeowners to be able to stay in the District of Columbia. Yeah. Facts. So I think when you talk about funding and the kind of the initiatives that we're trying to provide for the community in DC, that program specifically has affected a lot of our clients. We've put a lot of people in homes, specifically African Americans, and I think that even thinking about that funding going away, that's a problem.
Well, because the data shows us that the biggest hurdle that a lot of African American homeowners have to staying in the city is that cash, that capital needed for down payment to be able to qualify to afford the prices that are going up. You cannot impact directly the market forces of price.
Right.
What you can impact is the capital and the cash people have to get in the door.
And let me be clear, I'm not saying that only African Americans can use this program. What I'm saying is the funding for this program is specifically and has affected and been able to help black home ownership and black homeowners stay in the District of Columbia. And that's what's very important.
I mean, even look at the organizations that facilitate the training for it,
Facts.
right? I mean, it's the
Greater Washington Urban League, Lydia's House, University Legal Services.
Yeah.
They're called CBOs, community-based organizations.
Correct. And it's hard enough as it is, even using the programs. Like, we have to work really hard to get our clients who utilize these programs into homes.
They're getting pledged, man. They're getting pledged.
Yeah, they are.
They pledge an HPAP.
Absolutely.
AP.
Absolutely.
They're up here pledging HPAP. So it's like, in addition to it already being hard to reduce the opportunity for people, it makes it really difficult to continue ownerships for minority communities in a city that's already losing that and pushed out, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's affordability thing. Like, I mean, I think about I bought my home in 2011. I haven't been around here like tens of years. Like, my family is not generationally Washington or anything like that. But my home still doubled in that period of time, and that's a lot of money. But the fact that I bought it then and it was hard for me then to now, that means it's harder for people now.
Right.
So.
Well, and it's not just a story of the negative part of it. And this is one of my good friends out of Chicago, Illinois, Tommy Choi, always imprinted this in my brain about the power of advocacy and the power of being able to be in touch with legislators and speak to them about what's wrong. The District of Columbia Association of Realtors put out a call for action.
Yeah.
That had a lot of people. And I think on my social media post, I had like something like 70 plus shares, a couple thousand views on the reel. And people reached out to the council and actually got them to reconsider and keep that $6 million in the budget. So that's significant. It's sad that it was even on the chopping block at all to begin with.
Right.
But this is where, individuals paying attention to what goes on with politics is important, because if you are not actually at the table for political decisions, then you're going to be on the menu.
Absolutely.
And that money was on the menu to be just discarded. So shout out to DCAR and shout out to everybody that stepped up and participated in that call for action.
Look at you with the quotes. If you're not at the table, you're going to be on the menu.
I like that one.
I like
that's
that
TC.
one.
That's TC.
I like that
I can't
one.
claim that one.
That's a Facebook post right there for
Save
sure.
it. Good stuff. So that's what's happening in the world right now. And actually, Chris, just to give you a part of this convo, you utilized a program in the city to buy your home before you had the opportunity to relocate out. Talk about your experience with the program you used.
I did. I used, so this was 2014, used the NACA program. I don't even remember what it stands for anymore. But
Neighborhood Assistance Corporation.
there you go.
That's why you got realtors for.
Right, exactly. And, I was fortunate that actually Harrison had told me all about it, and I mean, it sounded too good to be true, and probably most people thought it was. But you navigated me through that. But just I often say that conversation we had about NACA changed my life and my family's life, because it allowed us to get way more real estate, way more value than we would have otherwise been able to obtain at that time. I was working for the government. I was not making hand over fist money, so I needed to do the best I could with what I had, and that opportunity got me in there. It was tough.
Pledge NACA.
It was I pledged NACA. I have a interesting story. I was able to kind of streamline and really get through it quickly because I just happened to be a person that had all his ducks in a row. But no, it was tough to get through it, and it was annoying, and a lot of the sellers didn't want to mess around with us. They knew it took longer to close, but long story short, made great, very low interest rate, was able to buy it on the interest rate. When it came time to sell, we sold in like almost the height of the real estate market here during the pandemic, made a good amount of equity out of it. And, it really boosted my family up, put us in position for, the next spot, some cash on hand to do stuff with. And so, yeah, man, if you get a good program, you work it correctly, it can really, catapult you to the next level.
To that
you
point,
got a nice crib, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sleeping in your basement.
I want to know, what was your interest rate?
We got it at 1.89, I think.
Wow. And to put that into context, 1.89. I looked at the NACA website yesterday. And 6.25. 6.25.
6.25.
6.25 for the NACA interest rates right now.
And that's a good interest rate.
And that's a good interest rate.
Yeah.
The average interest rate since 1994 is like 8.4%, right? So it's 6.25, and he had a 1.8. Yeah.
That just shows how that access to capital and structure for people to get in the door can change the trajectory of folks' lives. So shout out to the folks that stepped up and, made sure that money was still on the table. All right. To our conversation today, and the reason why we got Brother Boone with us, we want to talk about fatherhood. This is something that is unfortunately not brought up amongst, I feel like, new parents enough. I feel like you're in the trenches a little bit, and you're like, man, this is kind of hard. But like diving into all the emotions, all the things that we have to think about and do, especially as being active parents, is a convo I really wanted to have. So this concept of active fatherhood, meaning I'm handling all my stuff at work,
right.
I'm handling all the other things in the world, but I'm making the choice to be there and be a part actively of my kids' lives. Keith, when I say that phrase, active fatherhood, what do you think?
Man, I think about presence, influence, especially on a day-to-day basis. What's important, priorities, right? Being an active father for me means so much because, just going back to my childhood, I didn't have an active father in my life. So that active fatherhood is very important, the sacrifices we make as fathers. And I think that conversation is not, brought up a lot around fathers, right? And for example, yesterday, all day, I was on a field trip with my daughter, and the teacher knows, like, I'm like the all-time chaperone. Like, that's my thing. If you going on a field trip, I need to be on that field trip. And so I want to be active, and I want to create those memories with my kids. Therefore, so they can, we can have something to talk about when they're older, and they look back and say, Dad was present. Like, he was present in my life. And it means so much to me, man. I always say having kids is like your heart walking outside your body. That's really what it feels like.
Yeah. Ryan, active fatherhood, man. We've been on a close to a similar time. Like Keith is a seasoned
I'm an OG.
vet
Yeah, I'm
in
a
the
vet,
fatherhood
man.
game.
Yeah, I'm a veteran in the game, man.
Yeah, boy. That boy, he giving coaching classes out here.
I started early, man. I started early.
Yeah, I mean, active. There's so many different ways you can find it, but I think part of it is just trying to figure out what works for you in like your life. And so active for me is, some things like 90% of the time I want to be there to drop off Devin and pick up Devin from school. Like, that's my thing. Like, we go to school together. She says, "See you later, mommy." She does this, but then when mommy leaves, she starts crying. She's you want to hold my hand, daddy? So like all those moments are like really cool for me. And I really enjoy just kind of being there for her, especially because, when the mom around, they don't really care about you no way. But you get
right.
Yeah, as soon as the dad, when you by yourself, that's your time. It's your time to shine and be the greatest dad in the world.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really cool. And then just the time that you get to see them grow every day, and little things are happening, just taking in those moments, because life moves by fast, especially with kids. And so just trying to be there. We try to have breakfast together, try to have dinner together. And then on the weekends, like, go do fun stuff and play and stuff.
Yeah. Chris, active fatherhood, man. Talk about it.
I think it looks different depending on if your children live with you, if you happen to be in a family, traditional quote unquote family, 2 parents in a home, versus if you might have your kids some of the time, not all the time. My situation, wife and I together, kids would live with us, so I feel like one of the big tenets of being active would be your presence, right? Your physical presence there. So that's just taken care of, right? So don't have to focus so much on that. So my focus on being an active parent is, I guess, more so kind of on the guidance, right? Like when things occur in the child's life, and there's a moment, like almost like a pause in time where you can see them like, this is something new. I got to figure out what I'm supposed to do right now.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a great opportunity for you as a dad to kind of step in and either, and choose your approach. Either you're going to be very upfront and kind of guide them to the type of response they need to do, or perhaps you model it for them, let them emulate, or you step back and you just kind of let them figure it out and provide like the guide rails to kind of keep them on track, right? So I think presence, physical presence, it's a big part, and then being there for those kind of like finding themselves moments, figuring out the social cues, like those moments. I think that goes a really long way. And then I think probably the third part would be the opportunity that you have to teach them what you know, and just kind of expose them to the things that you are already aware of, and see if they gain interest in that or whatever, and just kind of open their eyes and give them an opportunity to expand.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think of active fatherhood. It is just so exciting to be present and see.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's weird. Y'all know I love energy. I love events. I love having a good time with people around. One of the most proud moments of my life, there have been many of these last 17 months, was at our anniversary brunch, when my son walked around the corner, because we had the one room, we had the bar, and then we had the like side room where things were getting a little ratchet. And, some people started dancing.
Yeah.
And it may have been, the greatest love song of all time.
I was just
playing.
about to say that.
All time.
And, somebody grabbed the wall like you do when that comes on.
And hugged it.
And I had my son in my arms. And we both looked over and saw this happening in that moment. And he reached out and said, "Dad!" And I put him on the ground, and he ran right to the middle of the circle where things were happening and started like getting. And I was like, "Yo,
That's my child.
that's my boy." Like, he wasn't, because some kids, when loud noises and other things freak them out. The fact that he like kind of saw that and chose to be like, "Ooh, like I want to participate, like I want to be a part of it." And it could have been any activity happening. The fact that it was that activity happening was kind of cool.
Proud dad.
You kind of saw some of.
Harrison shed a thug tear.
Yeah.
One thug tear coming down the aisle. Like,
Oh man.
that's my boy.
That's my boy.
Man, that was so
That's my
powerful.
boy.
Well, I think we are really lucky to be in a time where societal expectations around fatherhood have changed. Like, you think about what, and we're kids of the 80s, like, and what our parents did, what our fathers did, mothers, fathers. I think it is more acceptable and maybe even more expected now for co-parenting to be like more active. I mean, I'm just throwing it out. Tell me what you think. Like, how do we navigate these different societal expectations around father's presence, what we do, what we don't do, what we're a part of and what we're not?
I think we're just blessed to have the group of friends and kind of like community we have. Because I know for sure that ain't for everybody.
Facts.
I know for sure. Because these internets will tell you this ain't for everybody. It ain't like that out there. I know for sure. That's why you stay inside. You stay inside. You good. You good with everybody? Are we good? We good? All right, everybody good inside. But yeah, man, like on the internet streets, there's people still fighting for active fathers. Some fathers are fighting to be active.
Facts.
Because that's the thing that's not talked about a lot. But there's a lot of fathers that want to be active that, we got a really weird legal system around, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's a whole topic.
That's a
Probably
whole
shouldn't
topic.
go into too much.
Facts.
But there's a really weird legal systems about custody and, care and like basically.
Well, because of societal norms and expectations that the mother may always be the best one.
Yeah.
Even if that doesn't take into account all factors.
Well, times have changed, and that's really what it boils down to. And like the laws rarely keep up with the times. I think that's the big part of it. Like, it's really tough for law. Like, some laws have been in place for like over 100 years, and it's like, was that guy really that smart? I always want to ask him, like, was he really that? Sometimes they'd be like, oh man, they were geniuses back then. It's like, that's a bit much.
Consult our legal counsel here about strict constitutionalists and like, come on, man, you got to think about what they were talking about when they wrote it. But Keith, societal expectations and how that's kind of shifted.
Yeah, I can speak for myself. I have a blended family. My wife had a son from a previous relationship. I had a daughter from a previous relationship, and we have a daughter together. And society has always said that there's supposed to be drama in situations like that with the parent that's not in the household. And I think that, for one, I've always tried to debunk that myth. Like, debunk that. And there were times where, we would all be at the table having a conversation, because I think what people forget when you have kids, it's not about you anymore. it's not about you anymore. It's about that kid and what's best for that kid. And as soon as you can continue to have that mindset, the better off that child is going to be. And so I think that debunking those societal norms is just making sure your kid is always taken care of in the best interest of the kid, no matter how much it may hurt you. Yeah. That's very important. No matter how much it may hurt you, make sure you put that child first. That's important. That's important.
Yeah. Anything about those societal expectations, Chris?
Man, I do my best to think about how I was raised, the models that I look to, what I think worked for me. And then I do my best to make my decisions and block out all that noise. You can't, man. The wild stuff you see on the internet, these posts that people, I swear, make up just to cause chaos.
Yeah.
You can't pay any attention to that. You really got to take a look and see what works for your situation, right? And you can also look at your friends around the table, right? Literally and figuratively, and figure out, what's working for them and share information. I think Harrison and I were just talking yesterday about, man, we all trying to figure it out together.
Absolutely.
Like, we don't know what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Even the ones that look like they know what they're doing.
What?
Just getting lucky.
Every
right?
day's a surprise.
And so
Every day.
And so yeah, man. So I value far more what my friends are doing that seems to be working than people I don't know what their real life actually is. I mean, I'd rather see the ugly part of the parenthood process and understand how you get past that and fix that than to see the beautiful part that's captured on social media and social and try to emulate that and act like it's not hard to get to that part, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean I prefer to take my cues and my information from the folks I can talk to and really see what's actually happening in real life. That's just how I navigate it, man. You asking a lot of questions, Harrison. What about you, bro?
Ooh, yeah. Funny you should ask. I think it's interesting, man. I like that we have permission to get down into more of the everyday parenting stuff. I feel like our parents, like our dads, either by choice, by whatever was going on back then, they didn't do a lot of the stuff, like between changing diapers, between the food, between a lot of the everyday presence parenting stuff. I'm an operational nerd. Right. I kind of like, operational with that kind of stuff. Nerd. I like processes. I like efficiencies. It's fun to me. It's kind of like putting puzzles together all the time to get to do all of it. And the fact that I feel like parents, especially 80s, 90s, didn't get to, or it wasn't allowed, expected, or the father was like, no, go ahead, honey. And sometimes it might have been kind of nice to be like, just go ahead, honey, don't worry about it. I ain't gonna lie. So as an active father, I get to change diapers. And the most powerful part of changing diapers is the process every time. And making sure when you wipe, you completely clean it up, and there's nothing on anywhere, and you get them quick, and you pin them down, and you keep them engaged. It's like kind of like DJing, actually. There's a lot of similarities, DJing and changing diapers, because you have to do multiple things at one time with your hands and your eyes and your focus, and you're saying different things.
Do you
do
do the 2 diaper thing? This y'all new thing, but y'all new parents do this 2 diapers.
Put one under.
Yeah.
When you go. Not now. When he was little, I did, because there was a risk of explosion.
Wow.
Yeah. Now he's not. He's rarely he's gonna do it again while I'm changing him.
Okay.
Now it's more like completely clean up. Now I just hold him up like a. I was just holding his leg up and getting everything around, and he's in that wrestling phase where he's trying to always run away and pin. So it's kind of funny.
Hall, man.
Yeah.
So is that a thing? Because if you ask me, I invented it. Is that like a worldwide thing? The second diaper is a thing?
It's a thing.
It's a thing now. Yeah, that's crazy.
You let me tell it. I thought I invented that thing, man.
Snap. Wow. Yeah,
I thought I was on. I was like,
I seen
say,
that.
babe, look at this. Watch. No mess. We don't need a changing pad.
Man.
Brushed my shoulders for 3 months after that.
Wow.
Yeah. You just gotta be fast too. I mean, my speed, humbly, I'm one of the best diaper changers in the game.
In the game.
Yeah.
I think because I was in college and had kids, I was scared to get the second diaper dirty and messed up.
They're expensive
because it was so expensive, and I was broke in college. You know what I mean? So I saw that and I was like, wow.
If I'm being honest, mm-hmm. I just don't think that changing diapers is that big of a deal.
I mean,
so, and partially probably because I have younger brothers, so I've been doing it for since I was 12.
Yeah,
I've been changing diapers since I was 12.
Likewise,
So that was not new to me, changing diapers. So I'm like, what's the problem? Now I'll be honest with you. What was really different was that it was a girl versus a boy. Now that
Yeah.
threw me off.
Yeah.
And I'll be asking questions. They like, I was like, how you change this diaper?
Yeah.
The same way.
Yeah.
Is it really the same way? Is it really the same way? You got wipe different. You got different parts to wipe. Like it's all types of stuff that's different. And nobody wanted to give me like a straight answer. They're like, you supposed to know this already. Like, help me.
And wait, hold on. I'm gonna let you finish. You said changing diapers isn't that big of a deal, but if somebody don't put the diaper on right, that's a big deal. Like that's a problem. So when it is done well, it is kind of binary, right?
Yeah.
Well or not. But when it is not done well or correctly, that's a problem for everybody.
That's
I'm just
it.
saying that.
Yeah.
I bet you I'm taking this off track, but that's what I do. So we're talking about fatherhood, right? As a father, was there a task or a job you felt like you just did? Probably didn't tell your woman this, but there's something you felt that you just did excellently.
And they don't.
And I'm not saying better. I'm just saying
they don't?
that you want to give yourself props, and maybe you didn't get the
100%.
props you deserve. What is it? What is it?
Candace know right now, like putting the kids to sleep.
Putting the kids to sleep.
My man.
Hey, up top.
All day.
Up
like,
top. Put the kids
literally
to sleep.
last night, my 10-year-old came into my room in my bed and laid next to me, and she said, "Dad, I can't go to sleep, but I know if I lay here with you and cuddle, I'm gonna go to sleep."
Yep.
And that's like a thing. I'm a pro. You know, I shoot 100% at that shot. Like I do.
100, yeah, I'm
I
with
feel
you.
like that.
No, I'm with you. Same thing.
You know what I
The
mean?
naps, can't put them down for the nap. Getting calls. Help.
Yeah.
Help me.
Facts. Help me.
Help me.
Yeah.
So I got this.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta take. I gotta do Chris, get my voice down a couple octaves. Like, you know, I got this.
Yeah.
You need help with getting a baby down for a nap.
And it's the evolution of it. It start like since day one and till this day. I'm still to this day still the champion of putting kids to sleep.
Yeah.
Chris, what is yours?
I gotta say, man, swaddle game. Two kids in.
I wasn't artistic. You
Baby burrito looking
I was not. Yeah.
looking fantastic.
But yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
Hit him with the.
Arms going nowhere.
Yeah.
No, the straight jacket,
that-
arms by the
No,
side.
that look when the eyes get real big when you swaddle, like, oh, I'm about to go to sleep and I can't help it.
Yep. As soon as the nurse reminded me that in the womb they're uptight, I said,
Gotcha.
so tight.
Yep.
Wrapped them up like an ace bandage, arms to the side, no wiggling, couldn't get the elbow
Couldn't get it up.
bent to get the arm and the leverage. So that breaking out solved all that problem. Slept like a baby every time.
Yeah.
The baby straight jacket is hilarious.
Swallow.
Paul had a time right before he busted out where he would be like only his shoulders would still be on the bed and his hips and legs would be completely up in the air, like kicking. I was like, that is impressive core strength, man. Like, how do you do that? We got video of him almost like the Exorcist, like this, up and down. And then he busted out like a week later. But something we learned from a pediatrician friend is you can't swaddle them too tight. Like you legit can't. Put them in a baby straight jacket, put them to sleep. My skill, in addition to the putting to sleep, is just soothing. There's a thing in Lindsay's head when he does the like scream, the freak out scream, like it doesn't bother me in the same way. You just hold them, prioritize, calm them down, go. So that's what I'm good at.
All right, what's the worst thing you do?
Man, as a baby, I would say feeding because I was a messy eater and like feeding and food would be all over the face. I was not that was bad for me. I would say that would be the worst.
I would have loved. I'm not gonna lie. I would have paid money to see you in the early 20s. Doing it like that.
Man, I got pictures of Kinley now, like feeding her. Like she got the green baby food all over her face and clothes. I always had like man, I think feeding for me was like, nah, I wasn't good at it.
I really struggle with the hair still. Just like I can get most of it, but the baby hairs, because look, Po Button, she ain't grown out all her hairs yet. She's still a little, it's coming. She got the genetics. The genetics are there.
Facts. Look at
genetics are there. But for now, Po little thing, we got to do like a lot of different little things.
Try to make something happen.
We got to try to make something happen. And she won't sit still, and I'm trying to part the hair, and she wants to like get up, play my song. She wants you to do it while like her song or something, like play Baby Shark, Dad. Like that, and she be like, Daddy, you see that? You see sister brother? Yeah, this is fun. This is so fun, isn't it, Daddy? No, it's not. Will you stop moving?
Well, and just then the pride, because it's like I want to make sure your hair look right, so you don't walk out the house
looking
like, because then someone's gonna look at you and be like, somebody doesn't care about you because they didn't try hard enough on your head.
Who's your daddy?
Right? Like,
This your daddy. You know, especially when you come in and like normally the hair looks good, and then a couple of days of you're like, oh man, you ain't. This was your day to do the hair, huh?
Yeah.
Chris, you got yours?
Man.
I am horribly inconsistent about making sure my kids are dressed nicely. Like most of the time, it's my 4-year-old picks out her outfits, and I don't go whatever makes you happy, baby. I don't care what you wearing. She'll wear jeans with a skirt on top, like the short skirts put together.
Yeah.
Because she won't wear pants. She
Yeah.
thinks she looks like a boy. She wears pants, so she
Yeah.
has to put a skirt on, and she put a tutu on top of that, and then a t-shirt that has nothing to do with the rest of the outfit. Some costume jewelry and a tiara. I'll be like, you know what? We going to school like that. Let's go.
Today's the day, yeah.
I'm terrible. And then my
I
son.
actually thought you were gonna say nothing.
You know, that was my first answer was.
That's what he really wanted to
That's
say.
what he really wanted to say.
I did nothing wrong.
And
That
I'm
was
thinking
that was my
about
first
that.
answer.
Like, I'm like, I did the same thing.
That's
But like,
my
that's kind of good. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was my politically correct, safe answer.
He's like,
Because you know,
this is gonna be
man,
shown. This
we're
is public.
superstars, man. No, but I like to think positively. I don't like to dwell on what I don't do well. You know what I mean? Got to stay optimistic.
yeah.
Meal planning and figuring out like a couple meals ahead. Like I'll get him to eat when it's there, and I'll be like, Lindsay, what we eating today? Like I just don't. Yeah, I'm bad at that. I handle everything else, but again, clear roles and responsibilities in the house. Like that is not a part of my job, so I don't think about it, which that's fortunate.
You said that out loud?
Yeah, it is.
How did it? No, I said, did you say it out loud?
Yeah, no, we admit that.
Not just in front of your friends.
Nah, Lindsay, my wife knows that the figuring out the sustenance, not just for the baby, but even for me and for her. Like I will go to the grocery store, like before events, I'm on it. But every day eating, I feel like I'm always surprised by food and weather.
I feel you, bro.
I wake up in the morning and be like, man, why ain't no food here? Man, what's going on with the weather outside? Like,
Yeah. I feel you, bro. I feel you on that one. Like
every day
Yeah,
gets me out of nowhere.
I'm with you. I definitely do like the I know I used to get super mad because Daria be like, she made all the food for Devin. Like she's like chopping up food and making juices and stuff. And then she'd be like, coming to me like, what we gonna eat tonight? I'm like, what? You made all this food and then you gonna come to me and ask me what we gonna eat tonight?
Yeah.
Oh boy! And then on top of it, it'd be late by the time I do it.
Right.
I'm hungry, and I'm
And
watching
for
this
people
baby
who don't
eat
know,
food. Right?
our buddy Ryan, when he is not fed,
Yeah, he
it is a
hangry.
problem for everybody.
Yeah, I apologize.
He hangry.
I don't do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like Devin says, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you, Daddy.
So it's funny hearing y'all talk, right, about like the food and meal prepping and stuff like that, because my kids ate what I ate, and I was going by McDonald's.
That's what you McDonald's.
But the best feeling in the world is when they went to table food, and we try to get them to table food early. You know, scrambled eggs, and like we were on a budget, so like the meal prepping and stuff, like man, it was McDonald's, Taco Bell.
Well, you know, we had kids a little bit later in life.
Yeah.
And for what we sacrifice or what we have in funds, we sacrifice, I think, in energy.
It's a direct trade-off.
It's a direct
trade-off.
What we had in funds, what we have in monetary, you know,
and resources and ability
And
to
resource.
problem solve and figure stuff out.
yeah. We directly
Leverage.
sacrifice
And leverage
The-
at its finest.
direct sacrifice to energy because
Yeah.
sometimes I ain't gonna lie to you. This is a really private thing I've been having to myself. I'm about to tell you right now. Sometimes I looking like I lost today.
Oh yeah.
Like today,
yeah.
like she beat me.
Oh,
I'm looking at her and she looking at me with those little eyes all happy and stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
you beat me today.
Yeah, you got me.
You got
On multiple occasions.
I'm looking. Sometimes I be calling people. They don't even know why. I just need to. I
need an adult. Yeah.
I knew it.
I don't even tell them what the problem is. I just try to hear somebody else's voice. I called my mama this morning. She's like, "What you calling me for?" I just wanted to hear your voice.
I just need a different adult voice.
That's very. I appreciate the transparency, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Especially on holiday days, man. Days away from daycare, days like complete. And again, there's nothing more beautiful and amazing than solo time with your children. It's a blessing. We love it.
Yes.
There's nothing more exhausting. And
At the
like
same time.
And talk about how time moves different on a day off, like that, like 6:30 a.m. to like first morning nap, which is like 9. I'd be like, man, I've lived a whole day, and it was just 9.
It's been a whole day.
Just the drop off part of it. Like, that even, like just the, oh my God.
Well, I like when the schedule changes, like the frequency of schedule changes. Oh my God, like that, that bothers me. I'm like, I like to stick to my calendar and my schedule, and then all of a sudden I gotta pick her up, and then I still got other stuff to do.
Yeah.
And you can't do, like, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
You cannot do it. All that stuff's on my mind of the stuff I can't do. All the phone calls coming in, and she looking at me like, "You ready to play today?"
What do you do? I mean, like, a day off for them doesn't mean a day off for you.
I try to get as many snuggles in as possible. You want to snuggle, baby?
Right.
Lay down on the couch, get a little snuggle in.
Yeah. Well, I think one other thing as we kind of wrap it up that would be helpful to our audience is the balance piece of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the beautiful parts of being present, being around, but when you're working and you got other things to do and your energy is needed elsewhere, how do you balance it? Or do you? Or I mean, you said some days it feels like it's an L. Like, what are some tips, ideas, experiences for finding that balance and making it work?
Well, I'm blessed to have my kids work for me. So labor. I had to tell Kenley. I tell Kenley.
That boy out here talking about child labor,
labor.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
hey.
Kenley came like we did one day she was out. She came. She was out of school. They have so many off days from school, by the way.
Bro,
Who decided that?
Oh my
Who decided that?
I don't remember being away from school, out of school, so many days.
what kind
bro.
of school is this?
Like, okay,
Yeah.
So my daughter, I told her for an entire day she was going to be my assistant, and everything I needed to get out of my brain, that she was going to write it down, right? And I told her I would take her to her favorite restaurant at the end of the day. So that right there for me, yeah, you're going to put in some work. And I want to teach you because that's the age my kids are at. They're being taught to work.
Now, I want to see what happens when Kenley's favorite restaurant keeps increasing, because we know your kids tasting food.
I know,
They've been
man.
eating sushi since they was like
man.
5. They go to a
know,
sushi
man.
restaurant.
I know. It's my fault, man. That's the young parent in me, wanted to give my kids everything that I didn't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but now they there and they like,
Bro.
they.
What I expect.
Bro,
I'm sure they.
facts.
Yeah.
I mean, like Joe's.
When
Like,
the last time they ate McDonald's?
I couldn't tell you.
Exactly.
I couldn't tell you.
To be fair,
Yeah, you're right.
you probably shouldn't be eating too much McDonald's, but
Shout out to McDonald's, a sponsor of this podcast.
Loving it. The Dodge Caravan. I wanted that too, by the way.
go ahead and throw Tyrese up there with the Coca-Cola.
Oh, the commercial.
Do.
No, it was when he was on the bus.
Always
Yeah, the bus.
Coca-Cola.
Right?
Yeah, the bus.
Always Coca-Cola.
think it was Coke.
Always
That was Coca-Cola. That was
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, yeah.
Hey, that was a cold commercial though.
Yeah, that was. That was.
Oh man, this is great.
Balance. How you balance it? How you make it work?
I don't know if I figured it out. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a victory for me if I can get home and have, if I make it home and eat dinner before 8 p.m. and remain awake past 9. That's a victory for me. And I feel like whatever I did today worked. I balanced it, whatever. But no, if I can get home and I have the kids in the morning. Fia, she starts work very early. She works East Coast time. We live on the West Coast, so she's 6 a.m. like it's full action going on the East Coast. So I get the kids out in the morning. So I spend a lot of time with them in the morning. I try to make it home in the evening to help out with that situation as well. So in terms of getting my time in with them and getting my work done, if I can get home by bedtime, it's a win. If I can eat dinner before 8 p.m., it's a win. And if I can have the energy to remain awake beyond their bedtime, that's a win. And that's good enough for me. Maybe I install one thing around the house that's been on the to-do list for like 6 months. I mean, that's just lanyap at that point. That's just extra. Yeah, yeah, that's extra. I mean, at this point, especially when they're young, man, just I count the small victories as victories, and I'm not even. Yeah. Find time to do social stuff. Oh, you know what? You know what a little life hack is, man? kids' birthday parties, the invitations from daycare and stuff. I go to all those. That's how I get meet the people in the area, right? I meet the parents.
Yeah.
I get social. The kids have fun. Get some free food.
Yeah.
It's a win, man.
Free food. I was waiting. Harrison, no, I was waiting. I was like, I know he's gonna do it. I had faith in you, bro, and you did it.
You know me.
You came through.
So that actually, you know what? And now that I'm thinking about the question, and time has allowed me to do so, just taking advantage of the kind of the things that are thrown at you to take advantage of kind of makes it easier to incorporate that. You don't have to stop and think about it for yourself. Someone already did all the thinking, planning for you. You just got to show up, which is not a problem for me. I'm pretty good about just showing up and take advantage of it. And it works out.
Yep.
And somewhere along that line, balance occurs. Everybody goes home happy. And yeah.
The universal line.
I just say y'all just gonna be mad at me. That's what I've just accepted, that piece, that somebody gonna be mad.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna, like, I gotta be here by this time and this by this time. I'm tired. If I'm tired, I'm going to bed. It is what it is. Y'all just gonna be mad at me. I apologize tomorrow. I'm sorry. I was tired. How can I help you now? Like, so that's like the external relationships, with the internal relationships. It is actually, for me, extremely mentally taxing to think about the balance piece of it, because like TD Jakes always talks about, he has this like little video clip that was popular a few years ago. It's like, a man don't work, a man don't eat. If a man's at home, man's not working.
Yep.
So you can't do both. One of them's got to go. So you can't be out working and making money for your family and be home with your kids when everybody's asking for you.
Yeah.
Like as the man of a man of the house, quote unquote, everybody's kind of pulling you in different directions. Yeah. Like both, I feel like the wives and the relationships have a lot of internal strifes that they deal with, both familial, like family matters, like internal family matters. Yeah, but then there's like this external thing where there's this old society expectations of a man. Yeah. By still having the new society expectations of a man. Yeah. And so you're trying to go between both of those. Yeah, and it's just really hard to do. And I just, you're going to have if you had, 9 days, 3 going to be bad, 3 going to be good, and 3 going to be all right. Yep. So I'm like, that's where I'm at in life. I know I sound like a broken human right now, but
you sound old, bro.
Our last couple episodes, we sound old as hell.
We sound old, man.
When that's what's that phrase? From my meditation, equanimity, right? You balance in the middle, like you acknowledge you in the middle. Yeah, go ahead. You're welcome.
Never too high, never too low.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What is it? What was the word?
Equanimity. I might have left.
Chris is the only person that probably here to know what it means. He might not even know what that means.
Ask the internet. Hold up.
You better not ask me what it means, because I don't know.
Don't nobody.
And please
usually
don't ask
nobody
me
ever knows.
Please don't ask me to spell it.
Harrison.
Equanimity, mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in difficult
Did
situations.
You have to look up a word you just used?
I did it for you. You out here fact checking me. I did it for you. I used it with confidence. I use all my words with confidence.
You sure do.
All of them.
Hey, did we just realize Harrison just be out here just using words?
Bro, he said it with his chest. That's all
really
I'm saying.
Did, though. He was really out here.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Final thought, balance. I think for me, it's about counterbalance. Like, I acknowledge there's going to be sometimes when it's out of whack. We feel it. We know it when things are really out of whack. What do I do then to counter on the other side? When we travel, when we are pulled to different places where we got to be out a lot, look at the schedule ahead. When am I not going to be out? And sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's 2 weeks. Yeah. But in the moments I do have at home, I do my best to be real present, make them smile, have a good time with them. Mornings are also my routine. So that's kind of the trade-off, is that no matter how late the night ends the night before, the next morning always starts at 6:50, and you figure it out.
It's a new day.
But yeah, man, I think balance, people always striving for that, or all the gurus that talk about, like, achieve balance, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they're doing enough things in their life to, that's my personal opinion. But counterbalance, I think, is something you can control and be intentional about. That's what we do. Man, I'm sorry, finish.
I was just going to say, man, I salute you fathers too, by the way, man. Like, on everyday life and, what you guys are doing, man. I salute you guys.
Father's Day's coming up, too.
And Father's Day's coming up.
This is a month for fathers.
My kids, TJ, Kinley, Chloe, Candace, I want some good gifts from all of y'all. TJ, you know what time it is.
Why don't you let TJ take you up for a flight?
Oh man, you know I'm afraid of like heights.
I know that's why.
Yeah,
As much as you on planes going places.
I know.
Well, he got to take pills and Benadryl. And all
Chill out, man.
He got to sedate himself. He got to sedate himself. He got to sedate himself. He got to sedate himself.
So I told TJ, because all right, my son is at Delaware State becoming a pilot.
TJ pilot, TJ
Yeah,
the
shout out
pilot.
to TJ,
Get
pilot
it done.
TJ, right? And I told him the only way I probably could get on the plane when he flying it is that I don't see the pilot before they come on the plane, and like after the flight happens and it lands, and I walk down out the plane and he steps out, surprise! That's the only way, man, because yeah.
You're talking a funny voice.
Right, yeah. Like, man, that sounds familiar.
Could you imagine like your kid's a surgeon?
Oh my God! You wake up, your kids just operate. That's how I feel about it. I feel like the same way about my son flying me on the plane.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to know that. Nah, I wouldn't want to know who my surgeon is.
You know?
Mm-mm.
Man.
Oh, I love it. Well, this has been a dope conversation, guys. Thank you. A salute to you, Father. Salute to you. Salute to you. Active fatherhood, something we're choosing, something that's amazing in the community. Ryan, your point earlier, we're blessed and fortunate to have a really strong and powerful community of active fathers around us, setting great examples. If you want to connect with more of our outstanding content from the All Blends Perfectly podcast, the best place to do it is on YouTube. Please follow, like, subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us some comments underneath. Additionally, you can follow us on social media at All Blends Perfectly. And I was reminded subtly that there would be no fathers in the world without mothers. So
Nah, man, this ain't no
shout-
Mother's Day.
Hey,
Nah, bro. That last week you could have said that.
I don't
That
agree
was
with
in
Ryan,
May.
baby. I don't agree
know
with
you
Ryan.
don't.
I
I know
don't.
you don't. You don't want up there sliding messages over here. Nah, bruh. This is my
the
month.
statements of these
Hey, like,
hooligans do not
it's
represent
June.
the state.
It's you, right?
This my month.
Hey, man, well, this
All
time.
right, you had last month. Okay. Now I'm coming here bringing in that energy. You up here, Esquire Chris up here bringing this energy
So,
like that.
hey,
It's
to
the
be
fine
fair,
print right
this is
there.
Ryan's therapy session. So this is how it's therapeutic for him. So
Yeah, and bring
you
him-
want his time.
Hey, thank you, Bombs, for bringing in the dads today.
You sound like that. Never mind.
Look,
On Facebook.
Keith Harrison, y'all gonna get a text from Ryan in a week or two. Like,
Yeah.
hey, y'all got a spot I could crash at.
Yeah.
I'm up here doing an apology on the
apology
next
tour.
episode.
I'm sorry.
I like Ruben stuttered. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
2004.
Oh, Lord. It's all the great places that you can find our podcasts. On the internet, you can find us on Instagram at All Blends Perfectly. He is at Keith James Realtor. He is at Ryan Butler Hoya. I am at HL Beach. Do you want everybody to know you?
I'm moving silence.
Yeah, he moving silence. He don't want to. You can maybe see him occasionally in our stories, and you might not.
At our parties, maybe not.
But thank you again so much for joining in. We'll see you next time on the All Blends Perfectly podcast.